Welcome to the Dogs Made Easy podcast, your go to podcast for unlocking the secrets of dog sports, enrichment, and everything fun for your dog. Whether you're a seasoned handler or just starting your journey into the exciting world of canine activities, we bring you expert interviews, insightful tips, and inspiring stories to help you and your pup thrive. Let's jump in. Good morning, I guess, depending when you're watching this. For those that don't know, I am Barb King, and I am the founder of the Dog Sports Made Easy site, among other things. And this is Jeanne Shaw. She's here to talk to us today about CARO, which is the Canadian. See, I'm going to say it wrong. I don't look. Canadian Association of Rally Obedience. So, Jeanne, can you just tell us a little about yourself?
Yeah, the overview. I'm old. Before I was old, I was a teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing for 25 years for various school districts. Itinerant teacher, so I worked with the teachers as well as the students and the parents. And then in about 2001, I got a dog that I wanted to start training with, and I got addicted to training. And by 2004, probably 2003, I was starting to train more than I was working for the school district. Don't tell the school district that. And by 2006, I started my own business, and I finally retired from the school district in 2010 after I mentored somebody to take over for me, because it is a teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing is a specialty. So it's an advanced degree. So I actually people are reminding me all the time, I went from intra-species communication within the hearing deaf community with people, so intra-species, to interspecies communication. And I think there's some real value in that, because as a person who was constantly working with deaf and hard of hearing children, I became a very astute observer of body language, and American Sign Language is very much a physical language.
Right.
And so the translation into dogs was relatively easy. I mean, there's obvious differences, but I started as an astute observer of body language. So that's kind of my history. I've been training dogs and their people since approximately 2002, 2003. And I've been working, quote unquote, full time, whatever that means, as a dog trainer since 2006. Yeah. And this is 2024, almost 2025. So it's a long time. I'm old.
Well, that's pretty cool. Like, to see the difference, like how it took you to this stage with the dogs.
Yeah. And how one dog can change your life, right? It had never even entered my mind until I got Andre. And I just got so addicted to learning watching how he learned and figuring out how to communicate. It's that interspecies communication, how to communicate what I wanted to help him understand. And that was quite addictive. And yeah, never occurred to me when I got him in 1999 that I would become a dog trainer within 5 years. Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. When I got Toby, I've had dogs my whole life, but she's a different thing, right? And she's, pushes all the boundaries still.
Yep. And Andre, I was lucky because Andre was perfect in every way. So I grew up with cats. My dad apparently was allergic to animals, although my mother told me stories about him, he had horses, he had dogs, he had it all. I think they just didn't want animals in the house. So we had a few cats from time to time, and I used to dress them up, but I certainly never even considered training them. I didn't know what that would be. So I actually didn't grow up with a lot of pets. And my first dog I was dog walking in the Vancouver SPCA. I was a dog walker for the Vancouver SPCA. And finally they had a dog that they couldn't place and was going to be put down. And so I took Pirate home and never looked back. And I don't know when that was, but I was still in Vancouver. So it would have to be late 90s, probably. Yeah, maybe, yeah, early 90s. But never grew up with them, and certainly never trained pirate. Probably got mad at him a lot. But yeah, Andre taught me a lot, and he was the kind of dog that was easy to train, which made me feel successful, and was very reinforcing for me. So it made me want to learn more. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously Andre made you get into the world of dog sports, but why did you start doing the sports?
Because it was an extension of what I was doing. I took a basic manners class. I took a advanced, well, kind of intermediate class. And then my instructor, that was just at the time when agility was starting to become popular. So my instructor was teaching us way back, we're talking 2001, beginning agility, the way that we did it then, right? Let's put the dog on leash and pull them across the dog walk. Not quite. And so that got me interested in dog sports. And I don't know where my interest in CARO came. My instructor certainly was the person behind that, in the sense that she taught obedience classes because she was, she competed in CKC obedience, which I also did with Andre. And I don't know where my interest in CARO started, because my first CARO trial was 2005 that I went to, and I traveled there. It was going to Kamloops, so that's 6 hours. So it was quite a commitment to go up there and have Pat, Kim's daughter, Pat, whatever. It's right there, you know. Anyway, anyway, she was the judge. And what was interesting at that trial was that I obviously wanted to be part of CARO even back then, because I had a membership. And when I looked down the score sheet, I went, everybody else's number starts with D. Mine starts with M. I wonder why. I had never registered my dog.
Oh,
so
no.
we queued every run, and none of them were worth anything because he wasn't registered with CARO.
Oh, no.
He was a mixed breed, and CARO, of course, accepts mixed breeds and unregistered dogs and all of that. So that wasn't the issue. The issue was that I had gotten a membership, but not a registration. But I didn't know.
What we're trying to help people with here.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, again, because he did so well, it was reinforcing for me. So oh God, Pat's name is right there. I can't quite bring it up. Somebody who's listening to this is probably going to say, "Oh yeah, I know who you mean."
If you know, put it in the Q&A.
I will, yeah, and I will. It's right there. It's such a short name. Anyway, so I think because he was so good at everything he did, and he was, some dogs they aren't highly exuberant, but they really want to work with you. And he loved working, but he wasn't exuberant the way my border collies are. And he just, everything that he touched, we were successful in. And that's really addictive.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I just became addicted really fast. So 2005 was the first CARO trial that I went to. And then I became a judge in 2007. So I didn't look back, basically. Yeah. And dog sports have been my life since then. Yeah.
So what breed was Andre?
God, there's not a picture of him on the wall. He was a mixed breed. Oh, he was a mixed breed. But he looked like a smooth collie.
Okay.
And we do believe there was German Shepherd in there because of the kind of coat he had. But he had a performance event number from CKC as a smooth collie. And he was just, he was an amazing, amazing dog. I think probably German Shepherd brain and workaholic, but smooth collie, wanting to please, wanting to do things with you. Yeah, he was amazing.
Cool. Yeah. So, what are all your, we'll take 10 minutes to say all your credentials now for training, judging.
Let me go over and look at my signature file.
Yeah.
When I became a dog trainer, I thought that because anybody can become a dog trainer, it's an unregulated profession. But I felt like if I was going to do something, if I was going to teach other people, it was really, really important to get my own credentials. Just like as a teacher, I had to go through a school to become a teacher, right? And not that parents aren't great teachers, but there is certain ways of understanding how to break things down that is you learn. So the first thing that I did is I did Karen Pryor Academy. And then over the years, I also hosted 2 Karen Pryor Academies here. So I am a Karen Pryor Academy certified training partner. And then I went to IAABC, International Association of Behavior Consultants, and I became a certified dog behavior consultant because, again, I was working with not just sports dogs. At that point, sports dogs were minimal in what I was teaching. I was working with a lot of behavior problems. And so I really wanted to get, again, lots of information about that. And I could go through the whole list of all the credentials. I won't. My favorite ones are that I am a certified nosework instructor, CNWI, because that was something that changed my life. KPA and IAABC, this certified dog behavior consultant, changed my life. There's a lot of other stuff in there, trick dog instructor and all of that. Because I am not going to cough. My fisherman's friend's going to work. Because I also believe in giving back. I wanted to become a judge for all the organizations that I was actually teaching. I think it also gives you another perspective on the learning and the watching and figuring out what people in your classes need to learn. So I probably first became an agility judge, AAC, and then a CARO judge, and then a CKC agility and rally judge. But I'm also now a Hoopers judge for the Canadian Hoopers Association, or Canine Hoopers of Canada. I'm a scent judge for CWAGs, for canine scent work, for CDSA, and for UKC. And I'm sure there's other stuff in there as well, but I don't know what they are. But that's kind of the overview. Basically, I believe that just like as a classroom teacher or an itinerant teacher, a teacher of the deaf, we had to do a certain amount of professional development every year. I do believe that people who are in the dog training world should do that. And I would say there's, I spend the vast majority of any money I make on professional development. And especially now that we can do it all from home and I don't have to try, as much as I would love to go to Pasadena or Miami, I don't have to spend all of that money. I can do the learning here at home.
Yeah, so, it's pretty amazing now. Like the world has opened up basically, right?
Yep. And I think sorry.
I was just going to say a lot of people are hesitant to do some of these online Zoom things, but once you've done some, it's amazing. I find you actually see more sometimes and you go back.
You can go back and you can watch it. And I don't think now as a dog trainer, I don't think there's anything that, I don't think there's any excuse for people not doing professional development. And I know that my students, I do a lot of online teaching, and I started that during COVID. And I think a lot of people were initially very hesitant. And yeah, exactly. You could go back, you could watch a recording, you see other things that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. I think online is absolutely amazing. Yeah. Which is why I love your program.
So tell us what dogs you have now and what sports you do with them.
Okay, so don't look at these pictures. These are mostly all old dogs. Put in a little plug for Christina Shalaby and her amazing pictures. They're all Christina portraits.
They're beautiful.
Yeah. So my first border collie, I'm not going to go through everybody, was Naya. That one. And she really got me into border collies. So my dogs right now are Faith, who's this red one, and she is about 6, almost 7 now. And then I have Sparkle. No, actually, the next one in line is Magic, who is about 5, and Sparkle, who will be turning 4 in March. All border collies, all smooth coat border collies. Sports I do with them. I started off being one of those people that was a totally addicted to agility. But gradually stopped doing as much agility. And then when I lost a lot of my mobility through sepsis a couple of years ago, totally got into hoopers. So I'm addicted to hoopers now. These are Sparkles Hoopers ribbons.
And your dogs are amazing.
And my dogs are amazing. They can go fast. And they can work away from me. So for sports right now, I do scent work. I do CARO rally and CARO working, which are the 2 sports that CARO has. We can talk about those in a minute. Right. I do hoopers. I do tons of tricks, and I teach trick classes. I play around with disc, but I don't compete in it. But for actual sports, I think it's mostly, I was trying to think about this yesterday, and I think it's mostly hoopers, nose work, and CARO rally and CARO working that I do.
Cool.
And they're basically my entire life. I don't have a life beyond dogs.
Who does?
Yeah, well, exactly. And they do, and my dogs do all the sports, but my dogs also choose what they like the best. Mm-hmm. So, again, Naya years ago would do anything. Torrent decided that he didn't like anything I did. And then I started, so it was like, I need a sport for him. And that's when Nosework came in. And Focus would do absolutely anything with me. And so but he was really hard on his body for agility. So we did a lot of rally. And then working came in, and I love working. And Faith and Sparkle do working hoopers and scent. Magic does a little bit of scent. She thinks that hoopers is for suckers, and she is not so sure that being close to me is a really good thing with rally, but she loves working because it's tricks. Yeah. So it's interesting how every dog makes their own decisions. And I really believe people come to me and they say, what should I do? And it's like, let your dog try everything, try all the sports. I think you have a really good dog sport, try everything kind of class or something like that, or dabble, or even this kind of stuff, dabble in everything, and then figure out what your dog wants. And unfortunately, sometimes our dogs want different things from us, and they may all want different stuff, and then we have to make choices. But there's so much out there. Yeah,
there is. Yeah, I do the same. I'm like, okay, let's try this, see what happens. And like Harvey, he loves nose work. He loves finding things. He loves antlers. And I'm like, sweet, he's gonna like the rats. No, he's like, ew, they're creepy. I don't want to get close. I'm like, okay, we're not doing rats with Harvey.
Yep. And I didn't even think about ratting and barn hunt and NASDA stuff, because that's all new to me. Right. Sparkle loves lost item recovery. Magic is passionate about finding rats. She thinks that is the best thing in the world, next to tricks, maybe even more than tricks. Yeah.
Toby's just like, it's a rat, whatever, give me my treat. I can find whatever you want. Just feed me.
Yeah, I definitely have dogs that would be like that too. Yeah, for Magic, it's a passion. Yeah.
I love when you find the thing that turns the dog on over everything else, right?
Yeah. And I would say that, that's what happened with Torrent, because once he discovered Nosework, he was like ready to do agility and rally, and we didn't have working back then, but all the things. Yeah. And I see that happening with Magic. It's like something has turned in her brain from, I think, probably barn hunt, the one time she did it. And tricks. And now she's like, I think that I can do this with you. Just don't do too much of it, but I think so. So yeah, it really is about finding the thing that works with them, and then it goes for everything. Yeah.
Yeah, with Toby, it was nose work too. Like we did agility and all sorts of other things, and she liked it and she was good at it. But as soon as the nose work came, it was like night and day, and then she could focus in everything else. We got
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
And
Yeah.
yeah, even at like almost 15, that's still her favorite, you know.
Yeah.
Well, you've heard her. If I'm doing anything, she's shrieking in the background because she wants to
Exactly. Yep.
learn.
Yep.
Yeah. So what do you love about Rally?
So what I love about CARO, so I'm we are
Yeah.
working in CARO to really make sure that CARO is the over organization for the two
Right.
sports, one of which
Yes.
is rally and one of which is working. What I love about CARO is it is open to every dog. So you do not have to have a particular kind of dog, a particular breed. It's open to everybody. It is welcoming to dogs and handlers who are differently abled. So there are blind dogs, there are deaf dogs that are competing in CARO. There are mobility impaired handlers. CARO is fabulous about making accommodations
Cool.
for differently abled dogs and handlers. That's one of the things I really love about it. The other is that I've been to trials of other organizations where it feels like some of the people always feel like the dog is wrong. And within CARO has an overwhelming positive attitude. Where as a judge, I'm taught if you're not sure, you rule in favor of the dog.
Right.
And when Rally started many years ago before CARO, because it actually came from APDT into Sinosport. So APDT was the first rally organization. They used to actually give points for a happy attitude for the dog and a happily wagging tail. I don't think any organization does that anymore. But as a judge, I would much rather see a dog who's not perfect but happy than a dog who's like, okay, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for you. I'm worried about not doing it right. So I really like the overwhelmingly positive attitude in CARO, as well as the ability to include everybody as much as we can. We work really hard at accommodations. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us more about CARO overall.
Okay. What else can I say? I don't know. This interview is an hour long. I'm not going to go on that long.
It can be as long or as short as you want.
CARO began in 2002, coming, I think, from APDT Rally. And it was founded by Bev Hurst, Rosalind Brown, and Wanda Purton. I actually had to look that up because I only ever heard about Bev. Bev was certainly the chair of CARO when I started. So the one sport of rally is about 40 different signs. And it's kind of, I'm going to say it's like an agility course where you and your dog, you walk it first so you know where the stations are and what behaviors are expected at each station. So it might be down sit, or it might be call front, finish right, or it might be a weave through cones. So you walk the course first, and then you and your dog do that course. So it's always changing. You can do 3 novice courses, and they will all have different signs in different orders. I think the dogs really like that because it always feels fresh to them. It's not the same thing over and over. I can't remember what the question was. Tell me more about CARO.
Organization.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's grown hugely. CARO now has not just our regular trials, but video trials as well, twice a year, which has really increased the number of people doing rally because, excuse me, although Love to Play has always been accommodating for dogs who are worried about the environment or reacting to the environment, or dogs or handlers, we figured out how to make them work in our trials. Not everybody has that ability in their trials,
Right.
and yet the video trials allow all dogs to participate. So that is fabulous. So a dog like Torrent, who struggled with ring nerves, was able to be in the video trials with no problem.
Cool.
So that's I don't know. What are we talking about? So CARO is rally, and it is working. And you can do one, you can do the other, you can do both. Like I said, rally is 40, at least 40 different obedience exercises, probably way more than that now when I think of the number of signs that we have. Over novice, advanced, versatility, excellent, versatility, excellent, 5 different levels, team, brace, all of that.
Something for everyone.
Something for everyone in every dog's household. And working is much more related to, it comes from when we were first working on it way back, Bev Hurst, Brian Smith, Judy Miller, I think Debbie DaCosta was there too. And I way back, and Sarah Jane, way back, we were pulling from utility exercises in CKC. So we were doing retrieves and things like that. And then tricks got added in. So it's much more trick foundation like. So there's backup, there's going around cones, there's retrieves, which if you don't have a dog that retrieves is a pain. There's drop on recall. There's a distance component where you have to give your dog signals. It has the added advantage, whereas in rally, you can only feed in the lower levels, in the ring at certain spots. In working, you can feed after every exercise. And you pass. You don't have to pass all the exercises, whereas in rally, you have to pass everything to pass. In working, you just pass by the exercise. So one of my dogs is at the top level in one of the exercises and can't even get through the novice level once in one of the other exercises. And it's all good. So they're different. Working is relatively new. It's maybe 10 years. Yep, maybe 10 years old now. And you can see that I'm really passionate about it because I'm doing it more easily than rally now, because healing with a dog when you have limited mobility, as you know, is really, really, really difficult. CARO also used to allow healing on either the right or the left. And now if you need your dog to heal on the right, there is an accommodation for that. We can allow that, but there comes a level in versatility where your dog needs to be able to do the rally signs on both sides. So yeah, I love them both. They're fascinating. They are fabulous for the dogs because it's always changing. It's happy. Here in our trials, I don't know about elsewhere, we have more people that enter just to have fun with their dog on that day than we do people who are actually trying for ribbons or trying to cue. So it's called for enjoyment only or for entertainment only, FEO. And in the trial, we have a trial. I'm hosting a trial this Saturday coming up. And I think we have 3 real entries in each level. And we probably have 10 people running FEO. And I mean, that's part of we just love CARO, and people love to play, and they love to play at levels that they're not ready for, but they can go in and they can feed their dog and they can do what they want and they can get ring ready. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. I keep every year I'm like, oh, I want to look at working more. It looks so interesting and I want to try stuff and I haven't. And like Harvey's got 2 novice cues in the rally and then everything went a little sideways. I'm like, I just need one more. Maybe this spring trial.
You and I need to sit down at some point and do a little workshop on working.
Yeah, that would be really good.
We could certainly do a working workshop somehow. But I love working, and maybe I love it even more right now because it's easier for me to do working than to do rally. I love them both. I love that CARO expanded, and working pulls from every sport. mean, CARO in some ways does, or rally does as well, just because there's weaves and tunnels and jumps in the upper levels of rally. But within working, you have even more of that kind of stuff. Yeah, not so much weaves. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I first heard about rally, because I jumped in with no obedience. Let's go straight into agility and see how we do. Which I now tell people, do not do what I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically 2 summers of agility classes learning recall.
Yeah. Been there, done that with my
Yes.
students' dogs. Oh, and one of my own dogs. I have
Yes.
the toy. Bye.
But I remember seeing the rally and was like, oh, they tell you what to do at each point. That's interesting, because like with agility, you just go out there and you got to try and run and remember and everything. And with rally, I'm like, oh, you go here and it tells you what to do. And it's obviously it's still not easy, but it's a little, I guess, maybe slower paced in some ways to help you get started with some of these sports and learn the
Yeah.
skills. And yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you don't have to think on your feet as often as you do in agility. I
yeah,
think. Yeah. Yeah, I love the fact that there's in a novice course 15, 16 signs, and your first one might be sit down stand, and then you go on and your next one might be call front. Let's do a finish left this time rather than finish right, and then you have a left turn. And it's all on signs, and it's not like you have to memorize everything.
yeah.
And you can actually, I mean, I've seen lots of people, we actually teach now that we teach the dogs to pay even more attention to you if you have to disconnect and think for a minute, because I find a lot of students, they will walk up to a sign and they're like, what's that sign say? Okay, how do I do that? I don't remember how to do that. And then the dog is like, bye.
Yeah.
You disconnected from me. I'll disconnect from you. So I actually put that into my teaching.
Cool.
Because I think it's really important, because we all do. We have those signs to know what to do every 10 to 15 feet all the way through the course. Course is only maximum course time for novice is 4 minutes. Very seldom does anybody take that amount of time. It might be 2 minutes to 3 minutes out there. But you do get to read the signs and stay connected with your dog. And I think that's the thing that I love. I mean, there's lots of benefits for Hooper. Sparkle gets to go fast. That makes him go. He loves going fast. But Rally makes him think. And so it's building a different relationship. It's a teamwork. All sports are teamwork, but Rally is a close teamwork.
Yeah.
And I also find that as a dog trainer, as an instructor, as a person, Rally always makes me so aware of what I'm teaching and how I'm teaching it to my dog. I know that focus, one of our first times on a Rally course, I think it was a practice course, there was a sit stand. And I said, stand. And he looked at me and he's like, I've never heard that word before. I was like, really? He said, yep, never heard it. And I was like, okay. Come in front of you and I say stand. And he's like, oh yeah, I know that. Okay. Do you know it if I'm at 45 degrees? Not so sure, but maybe I can. What if I come in beside you? He's like, never heard that word. It's like, oh, it was such an enlightenment for me and I'd been in dog sports for a long time at that point. So that was probably 2012 or 13 that Focus and I did that. And it had never occurred to me up until that point that where my body was really was part of the cue for the dog. Right. So I think Rally makes you a much better trainer or teammate for your dog, because you're constantly going, okay, my dog didn't understand that. What am I doing differently that I don't do any other time?
Right.
So yeah. It's fabulous relationship builder.
Yeah. Harvey loves obedience and Rally, and it's not my thing, but I'm like, I got to do more because he really likes it.
Yeah. And everybody likes something different, right? But I think that there are some people that only like the kind of formal obedience, don't talk to your dog. what I love about Rally is you can talk to your dog all the way through. You can tell them that they're brilliant all the way through. And it's, in formal obedience, get my squirrel. If your dog, this is my pretend dog. If your dog sits in front of you but sits slightly offside, in formal obedience, that's a 0.5 or something deduction. In CARO, as long as they're within 45 degrees, there's no deduction. So it's not as precise. You don't have to get wound up about the precision. Precision is nice, but it's not the be all and end all. The be all and end all is having a happy squirrel. Squirrels have to be happy. Yeah.
So how did the points sort of work? Like how do you cue?
Okay, so you start with 200 points, and then the dog when there are errors or omissions, the judge takes off points.
Okay.
So a crooked sit, if your dog was super crooked, might be a minus 2. If your dog was super crooked sitting beside you, whatever way. Or if your dog wandered away a little bit, that would be minus. You have to have 170 points to pass. So that's 30 points off. So that's a lot of leeway to pass. But we also have, for people who care, MCL, Magnum Cum Laude, and whatever the other one is within that. So you could have really high scores and you pass, and your title would actually be your CARO Rally Novice Magnum Cum Laude, right?
Cool.
So that's really nice. You also can have non-qualifying score. So let me go back one step. So if I have to tell my dog to sit, if I ask my dog to sit and he goes, "What?" And I go, that's an additional cue. I'm moving my body, or I might add in my hand signal, and that's an additional cue. So those additional cues are -2. However, if I want to really help my dog and I say sit, that's all one cue because it all happened at the same time.
Right.
It's when they're separated out. So additional cues are -2. And I would say that's probably the thing that gets people the most as a judge. It's -2, -2, -2, -2. Actually, 15 of those adds up really quickly to not passing. But I don't know elsewhere, but I know locally, win, lose, or draw, whether you pass or don't pass, people are there to have fun and they want to have a good time with their dog. And you could go, well, this round really isn't going very well. We're going to change to FEO, and you can help your dog through the whole thing.
Cool.
Or, it's really not going really well and I'm about to lose my temper with my dog. Do not do that. Because that is considered a correction. You can just say to the judge, I think we're done, and you can leave, which I know in some other sports you're not allowed to do. So I like that. There are, I think I said 5 levels that you work through. You need 3 qualifying scores at each level. So you need 3 passes. So that's between 170 and 200, 3 times to get from novice to advanced. Advanced is off leash. CARO is with the new database and new website, which are coming in at hopefully in the new year, but everything feels like it's going a little bit more slowly than we had hoped. We will also have an intermediate class.
Oh, cool.
And my brain is having a brain meltdown right now, and I can't remember it. Oh, it is. It's the advanced signs, but on leash.
Oh,
so
cool.
We won't be doing jumps or anything where you can't safely have a leash on. That won't be part of the course, but the intermediate level will be advanced signs on leash, because it's a huge jump going from novice to advanced. There's new signs and you're off leash. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, because I looked at it going, I'm just going to get his novice title. I don't know that I want to try anymore.
Yeah. First advanced course we ever did, Torrance said, that ring barrier is only 3.5 feet high. I can go into the parking lot. And it's like, okay, God. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, and so can you give us a few examples of the working exercises and how that works?
So working exercises. So again, there are 3, but more levels, but let's say 3. And you have to have 3. Am I lying? Nope. You have to have 3 passes of each of the exercise to move to the next level.
Okay.
So there is barrel racing. So there's 3 cones set up, 3 cones set up, 1, 2, 3, and you send your dog around this one, and then they go around this one, and then they go around this one, and then they come back and they sit in front of you. At the novice level, that far cone is only 7 feet away. At the next level up, it's about 9 feet away. And at the top level, it's 11 feet away. And I've always gone, oh, that's really easy. But my Sparkle is really interesting. He thinks that cone is really far at 11 feet. And he's like, I usually turn here. Is that right? It's like, no. Go out to the cone. It's about the cone, not the distance, right? So there's barrel racing. There's a backup where you get to back up straight. So you're going from in front of you into basically a box with no front on it that's 4 feet across. At the novice level, that's 5 feet. At the advanced level, I'm going to say it's 10 feet, but I could be wrong. And at the expert level, it is, at the elite level, it's 10 feet. At the expert level, it's 15 feet. And you have to do another behavior partway through. Oh, okay. So you back up, maybe you spin, and then you keep backing up. Or you back up and you sit, and then you keep backing up. So they just
hard.
Yeah. I know. I'm amazed that people include spins, because if my dog spun, the end of the backup would be off that way.
Exactly.
There is directed jumping, where it's a go out exercise, basically from utility, where your dog goes out to a box on the ground that's initially in rookie 15 feet away. They then take the jump that you tell them to jump, either on that side or that side, and then they come and sit in front of you. Retrieve, throw a toy 5 feet out, dog picks it up, turns around, comes back to you. They spit it out and drop it a couple of times. You say nothing. They just pick it up automatically, and then they come and sit in front of you. You take the toy, and that's that exercise. It just builds on itself. Distance signals, the dog is in a box 5 feet away from you. And without saying anything, you ask them in the box beside you to sit. And then you go to your box, which is 5 feet away. And you ask them, there's a little sign that will tell you what you're going to do in that round, perhaps to down, then to stand, and then to sit. And once they do those 3, they come out of the box and you can reward them. And then in the next level up, there's four behaviors they have to do without you talking. Talking is the hardest part. Not talking is the hardest part, because we all want to go, good. Oh, you finally recognize that. I ruined it. There's also a designated retrieve, where at the rookie level, there are 2 toys 10 feet away, or 2 things, 2 objects 10 feet away. And the judge determines if you're going to pick up the one on the left or the one on the right. You send your dog, picks it up, brings it back to you, sits in front. A lot of people call it crapshoot. There's also a scenting one, where you scent one of your articles. It's based on utility scenting. You scent one of your articles, and you have, say, 3 gloves or 3 dumbbells or 3 whatever. And the judge takes that one, puts it in the mix with the others. Your dog goes and finds the scented one and brings it back to you. Drop on recall. also drop on recall that gets harder and harder, but it's 10 different exercises.
Wow.
And again, they're all graded in the sense of they start fairly simple and they get harder and harder. Yeah, it's
And you
fun.
can just stay with one exercise and go to the top, like you're saying, and
Yep. So you can, I mean, if every round you can do 5 exercises, 5 are offered at least, but you can do 5 in a round. But you can pass 4, you can fail 4, you cannot yet. You cannot get those. You cannot yet 4 of those. And just continually pass. I'm going to say barrel racing or around the clock where you go around 6 cones. And so you could easily have all of your passes right up to the top level in one exercise and still be working on the flip and crapshoot at the novice level. So again, it's whereas in rally, if you fail, quote unquote, if you get a non-qualifying score for your call front finish right because you forgot to ask your dog to sit, or the dog did whatever, or you did whatever, then you failed. You've not yet, haven't passed the whole round. But in working, you can not yet 4 exercises and pass 1, and you still get to keep that cue. So It's really nice, that pass. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
It is. It's really fun. It's working. I mean, most people really love rally, and people usually go, yeah, nice job at the end. But very seldom have I seen the kind of enthusiasm from spectators that I see in working. And it was my first experience in working was judging working was in Alberta. And many of the spectators or people there were CKC people, utility people, and they were struggling because there's just enough difference in CARO working from CKC utility. And a dog would get through an exercise and everybody would be going, yay! It wasn't waiting for the end of the round. It was exuberance from the spectators. It's a great sport. They're both great sports. CARO is a great organization.
Yeah, like I'm part of the groups and stuff. Like I said, I haven't done much, but it seems like everybody's excited and fun, and I need to do more.
You
I need more time and energy.
Yeah, even FEO. Just go and have fun with your dog for the day, because like I said, FEO is a great way just to get out there and be doing stuff. I mean, I may put Sparkle in FEO tomorrow. We cannot heel yet, but he really needs, because of my mobility, right? He really needs the experience being in that environment. So I can come in, make that environment happy for him, feed him all the way through, do a little bit and leave. It's wonderful to have that option.
Cool.
Yeah, especially for places. Sorry, I'm keep talking.
Especially for places,
especially for places that don't have a lot of fun matches.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm hoping to offer some this year. Like I know Alicia really wants to, and our new King Dog Club sports place that we have is beautiful, flat, fenced. I'm like, yeah, we need to do some rally and stuff in there. So hopefully in the spring, once the snow's gone, we'll
Yeah. Rally is our winter sport here. Poopers is our summer sport, because we have access to an arena that is 60 by 40. By the time we take off 10 feet for people to be, it's basically 50 by 35, which is big enough for a rally ring. So we do CARO trials every 2 weeks. We do working mid-month, and we do rally the beginning of the month. And it's just, we don't do fun matches because of that, because we can just go and have the people who really want to trial can trial, the people that want to do it as a fun match can do it as a fun match. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's nice. I know some people really like fun matches, and I always think it's just as much work for me as a host to run a real trial as it is a fun match.
Yeah.
So it's nice that you could sort of combine them a bit that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so virtual trials. Can you tell us a little bit about how those work?
Mhm.
If you need a minute, I might be able to say a little bit, but you
Yeah,
explain a couple,
how does it work? Um,
but
works in some ways just like a real trial. The judges design courses. The courses are always 30 by 30. So you have to have 30 by 30 space, and you need to mark out that space. So using cones or whatever every 10 feet, so that the judges who are watching you on video can see that you're within the space.
right.
Um, and I'm going to say, as a judge who's now designed for the video trials, it's really challenging to make a really nice course in the 30 by 30 space. So the day that the trial opens, you get the course just like you would at a regular trial. The difference is that a regular trial, somebody else will probably build the course for you, and you just have to run it. With the video trials, the virtual trials, you have to build your own course. So you have to have the signs. You have to put them in the exact spot that the judge have laid them out when they designed the course. And all the courses that we design are walked by another judge, so we know that. Sorry, we know that it fits. We know where they all go. And one of the biggest errors that people do is not putting signs where they belong.
Yes.
So this is
Course
for
building is a totally separate skill.
and I'm going to say the people that do the video trials come into a real trial, and they are the most amazing course builders. They are very good at it. And then you bring your dog into the ring on leash. You tell the camera that what your dog's name is, what its number, and that it's wearing a regular collar, a flat collar, because that's a requirement in CARO. You cannot come in to a ring on a martingale collar or a slip leash or anything like that. And then you go and do your course. Something goes wrong, you delete the video, you come back in, you do it again. Recognizing that every dog will have its limits on how many times you can drill a course. So really you want it to go well the first or second time. And then you upload it to Vimeo or YouTube, and you send it off to your judge. The judge sits there and actually is allowed to slow it down and watch it multiple times, just like you as a competitor are allowed to redo as much as your dog can handle. We are allowed to look multiple times, and then you get your pass or your not yet, or all the nice comments that the judge is going to write on your score sheet.
Cool.
Working, you get to choose any 3 exercises out of the 10, and you set up your ring accordingly. And the judge will have told you ahead of time that you're going to, jump the right jump or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead. You had something to add.
Now it's probably gone out of my head now.
I love that. Video trials are outstanding. And I'm starting, because the Canine Hoopers group says video trials rather than virtual trials, I'm starting to use that term because it makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
A lot of people initially didn't like the idea of somebody can redo. But man, I'm going to say that video trials are harder in some ways than in-person trials, because Torrent was doing an advanced course. We set it out on the driveway, and then a thunderstorm went through and the whole course disappeared. And I was like, oh, okay. I set up again, and I can't remember. Oh, and then I realized I'd set up a sign wrong. It took us 3 times before we got the right weather. So especially if you're outside, if you're inside, there's a certain amount of pressure if you're inside, because you've probably rented the space, and then you've got half an hour to get this right. And our teamwork is crappy today. So there's that pressure that makes it really difficult. If you're outside, it's the weather. They run twice a year. They run for about 14 days. So, and you can enter, I think 2 rounds of, I wouldn't even want to say, I can't remember. But you can enter at your level. You can enter multiple rounds, multiple dogs, and you have 14 days to get your stuff done. And if you don't get it done, you don't get it done. Sparkle and I didn't finish our last round of working in the last video trial. And of course, the runs are relatively inexpensive because we're not paying for the location or anything.
Right.
Many people can find a 30 by 30 foot space, but videoing, getting it all right, getting the video set up right, and getting the weather correct is the biggest part that's wrong. And we overanalyze. I wonder if that was right or wrong. Maybe I should redo it.
I'm usually like, I'm just going to send this in and see what happens.
And, that is, I'm going to say, the best thing to do. Again, you've got, you can have faults. We all want the perfect run, but you can have faults and still pass. And you were out having fun with your dog. And really, that's what counts. I do more training during video trial time. It's when I actually train. So during the Hoopers video trial, I do all of my Hoopers training. During the CARO and working video, during the CARO video trials, that's where I do all my CARO training.
Right.
Yeah.
And I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe with the CARO titles, you can combine your in-person and your online to get the one title. So you don't have to do all online like some organizations, or all in person. So that's really cool too.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, that's that's really nice. Yeah. I mean, Sparkle and I do certain exercises in the video trials, and we do certain exercises in the in-person trials, because there's some of those exercises that he just cannot do when there's people watching him. It's like, I don't know what that means, Mommy. And I think she loves me. I have to go see her. Whereas in the in-person trial, Crow might come through, but most of the time we can keep it together. Or in a video trial, most of the time we can keep it together. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. Okay. So, can you think of any specific activities that you need to know with your dog before you're ready to trial?
Yes. Learn how to heel without a lure in your hand.
I kind of like the whole put some peanut butter under your left boob and go.
Yep. There was somebody in a trial that I was at in Kamloops way back. She was actually a local person who traveled there. It was not me. And at the end of her round, the judge said, "Can I see your hand?" And she had bacon in her hand.
Oh no.
So, so if you can teach your dog to heel without, not if, but teach your dog to heel without a lure, that is really important. Being able to do and understand your cues when they are beside you, rather than what we do mostly with our pet dogs is in front. That's really important. Just feeling comfortable in the environment. I think that's the most important thing. That's a skill in itself that people don't take into account. Can the dog stay in the vehicle until it's their turn, do a warm up with you, a potty break with you, come into the ring, work with you for 3 minutes, and leave and have a potty break and a walk and go back in the vehicle? That is a skill of all trials, all organizations, that people don't spend enough time doing.
Yeah, we should do a little class on that too, like just trial ready skills for outside of any trial. It's been in my head and I haven't done it.
Yeah, really important. I also thought of something else, but I don't remember what it was, so I will add it to the Q&A later or something. Yeah.
Sounds good.
So being able to be a team is the most important thing, and being able to put your ego aside for the benefit of the team.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not take it personally when your dog doesn't understand what you say. I need to remember that one. You do this at home. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, didn't somebody else teach you this? I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
What's the word?
Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe Alicia is doing a video of some of the signs in Rally.
Yeah.
And I certainly have some of the working stuff that I can put together a little video. CARO is such a welcoming and lovely organization, and very, very, I'm going to use the word competitor friendly. I hate the word competitor, participant friendly, very,
Right.
very participant friendly in every way. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm just going to add the little website in so you guys can see what it is. The URL is canadianrallyo.ca and it'll be inside the membership. I'm not going to walk you through anything on here because Jeanne says the new one is coming soon, which as you just look at the front page, you see that it really needs a new redesign.
Yeah. Yep.
So the videos for that will show up in the portal later once the new site is done. But if you have questions and want to get stuff done before the new site, then feel free to ask in the membership and we will point you in the right direction.
And I add one more comment, which is probably the thing that I was thinking of, is that unlike what I thought way back in 2005, you do not need to be a member to compete in CARO. Your dog does need to be registered, and that with CARO, that registration is for their lifetime.
Cool.
There are benefits for being a member. One is hearing about things before everybody else hears them. The other is, as of 2025, CARO will be giving those big ribbons to members.
Ooh.
Up until but not to people who are not members. So at this point, everybody gets the big ribbons, not the little ones. As they earn them, but that will be only available to members as of 2025. So it's another perk, not just being able to, do all know everything and ahead of time, but there will be some perks, some real perks for membership. Cool. But your dog, you do not have to be a member as long as your dog is registered with CARO. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that sounds great. Thank you for talking with us today. If you have any voice left.
Yeah, I can't believe we talked for an hour.
It goes fast.
Is
there anything else that you can think of that you want to let people know?
No, I am. I'm excited to see CARO continue to grow because it's gone from, 5 trials a year and 40 participants to, I'm not sure what the most recent dog registration number was, but I'm thinking it was up in the 8,000 or 9,000s.
Wow.
Yep, that's what I mean. My CARO number is 236, which shows you how old I am. But yeah.
Well, you started when you were like 3, didn't you?
Yeah, I know. Right out of high school. It was the first thing I did with my life, not when I retired. So yeah, it's a great organization, and I would strongly encourage people to get their tootsies in there. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Like I said, I played a little bit, not a lot, because it's not my hugest fun sport, but Harvey loves it, so I know I need to do more for him. Yeah. Toby doesn't care. Yeah. It took her till she was 11 to calm down enough to do any sort of obedience.
Yeah.
But yeah. Now watch me put her into it in the spring.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much. And we will book a time for a Q&A. For those that are watching this early, it is December, so we'll see if people want it before Christmas or after. But we will worry about that then. And thanks again. I will end the recording so you can have some tea. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of Dogs Made Easy podcast. We hope you picked up some valuable tips and feel inspired to try something new with your dog. Want to go further? Check out our Dogs Made Easy memberships for exclusive access to extended interviews, detailed training guides, and live Q&As with today's guests. Head over to dogsmadeeasy.ca and unlock even more ways to bond with your pup. Thanks for listening, and remember, with the right tools and knowledge, dogs really can be made easy. See you next time.